What's going on? Awesome people. Oh man, I'm so excited. Can you hear the excitement? I'm so excited. Why? Because it's been a while since I've had another IG live, and so it's great to be back. Hope life is good, guys. I hope that you're healthy. I hope you're happy. I hope that your 1401 is off to an amazing start, full of health, full of happiness, a lot of belly aching laughter. If you're an entrepreneur, I hope that you're killing it with sales, with business, with growing new team members that are helping you grow your business. Um, and yeah, above all, I just hope that you're practicing gratitude and appreciative of all the good things that are around us every single day when we get up. So much love to you guys. Missed you guys tremendously. And I'm so excited to be back tonight, especially with the guest that I have, because this guest is more than a guest. He's become a dear friend of mine. His name is Arash Jamali. And just a little backstory. 6, 7 years ago, I came down to Fort Lauderdale to host like a 25-year anniversary for somebody. And they connected me with this guy, Arash, a family friend who was going to help make sure this event is perfect for us, meaning get the sound, get the lighting, and all that good stuff. And, from the very first moment, I just realized that this is a good dude. He was so genuinely helpful, just a great guy, great personality, funny guy. And we kept in touch for many years. And then it was last year, I believe, where him and a few of his friends, they had a podcast called The Monday Noosh, and they invited me for being a guest as a Persian entrepreneur. And so we had a great conversation there. Those individuals became very special people in my life, especially as I spend more time in Southern Florida. So I'm very grateful for him welcoming me to Florida the way that he did, especially the South Florida area. And and now he's agreed to be a sponsor for the Baghché event that we're doing at Platform in Miami, April 30th, to bring all the awesome Persian entrepreneurs, business professionals, creators, creatives together. There's a very small community of Persians in Southern Florida, especially Miami area, but they are thirsty and hungry for collaboration. They're eager for finding a place where they belong, where they fit in, where they have similarities with other people that have gone down the same path of immigrant life. And I'm just so happy to have him here today. But I'll let him give an intro of his professional experience. And so, Arash, whenever you get the chance, go ahead and click that request to join button, brother, so we can get you in. And there he is. See how nice he is to always listen. And so, without any further ado, Arash Jamali from Mortgage by Arash. And if you have any questions about mortgages and all that stuff, drop it below. We'll get him in. Arash, what's up, buddy?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Good, man. Good to see you.
I would have come down to Miami and done this in person with you, but because of spring break and Ultra, I'm not making that drive.
Oh, the debauchery? I thought it was maybe the high gas price. So you're like, you know what?
Well, you already know I don't have any issues with that. So
Oh yeah, good for Tesla, man. Awesome. Good to see you, man. Good to see you, and I appreciate
likewise,
you
likewise.
being a part of this conversation. Roles are reversed. Last time we had a virtual chat, it was me on your podcast, and now you're on this mini podcast here.
That's how it goes down sometimes.
Good to see you, man. Well, listen, but I obviously have gotten to know you very well, especially in the past year. You know how much I love and respect you. But for those who do not know you, why don't you give a little bit of a background about yourself and how you got into the world of mortgages?
Well, I'm obviously Iranian. I was born in Tehran. I came to South Florida when I was very young. I've worked in various roles in different corporations. I earned my bachelor's degree in management down here in Miami at Florida International. I also got my MBA from there as well. And I just had different roles, and none of them was really satisfying because I truly wanted to help people. And let's not kid ourselves. You want to help people, but you also want to take care of yourself and your family
Of course,
as
there's
well.
nothing wrong with that. Of course.
So, and I always had like an inkling to be in some way, shape, or form, real estate. And a friend of mine told me, why don't you, start going to the mortgage side of the business. And it intrigued me, and I like numbers, and I figured, okay, I can make a living out of this, and I can also help people along the way achieve their goals of purchasing real estate, whether it's their first home, whether it's their second home, whether it's an investment, whatever the case may be. I want to be a part of that process and assist these people in achieving their goals.
Yeah, I actually love that when I asked you for some more information and like your bio, and like I never even thought about it from the degree of like people are making some life-altering decisions here. You know, for it's a big investment for many. It's the biggest investment they're ever going to
It's
make.
a lifetime investment.
Yeah, you
Some
know,
people, a lot of people are pouring their life savings into this. They've, you know, ever since they started working, you know, this is what they've been. This was their goal. They set out to do, is to purchase a home for their family.
yeah, no, absolutely. It's a big decision, and you're able to kind of be their guide and just be like a sounding board for them. That's great. I love that, man. So how about this? There's a couple ways to get loans. One of them is going straight to the bank. The other one is kind of coming to a mortgage broker. What's the difference between coming to somebody like yourself versus walking into a bank and be like, hey, can you help me out with this?
So banks are great. Obviously, if you build a relationship with a bank, you know, especially with their local branch, and you walk in, they know you. You know, maybe back in the old days, it was a little bit better because, you know, there was no credit, so to speak. So you would walk in and they know your business, they know what you do and what you're all about. So you're more inclined to get a loan. Now it's basically, okay, we know you, but we still have to put you through the process of the proper underwriting based on the agency guidelines. You know, so that's all relatively the same. However, banks are very restricted on the platform they can use. You know, so mortgage brokers are kind of chameleons because we work with so many different banks and lenders that we can take your file and give it to the appropriate bank to utilize, instead of you going to, let's say, walking into Chase Bank and saying, okay, they can't deal with my file, let's go to Bank of America. And then you're doing credit checks one after another from various lenders, where you can just go to a mortgage broker. You know, you do one credit check and they can shop it around with 20 different lenders, you know, if they wanted to. And that's the benefit, is they do the shopping for you, and it doesn't cost the client anything. It's the greatest thing to have.
So it's a more custom approach, very tailored to the individual, you know, like, and you're able
Right.
to kind of create, you know,
because not every scenario is alike. Every scenario is going to be different. Everybody's paperwork is going to be different. Some are easy, some are not so easy.
So obviously, you know, we're doing the entrepreneurial event Baghché April 30th. You've been kind enough to become one of our sponsors, which I greatly appreciate. And, you know, most of our viewers are entrepreneurs, business professionals. What are some like the biggest issues that you see with people who are self-employed that are trying to get mortgages?
Right. So for the self-employed folks, it's tough to walk into a bank and get a mortgage, because what happens with self-employed, and it's okay that you do this, is that, okay, I made, you know, $150,000, for example, last year. You know, someone comes in and says, I made $150,000. Okay, actually, I should be able to get whatever loan I want. Well, that's not the case, because you deducted so many things from your earnings that you only showed you made $30,000, $40,000.
Right.
Okay, and that's what your loan is based off of. So
Here comes the chameleon.
Right, here comes a chameleon. We have products that help small business owners and self-employed folks to achieve a loan. Now, they're called non-QM loans, meaning a non-qualified mortgage. They don't go by the agency rules.
Yeah.
So maybe they do have higher interest rates, they do have different rules, but it becomes attainable for that person, versus maybe paying an extra $20,000 on a tax return. They'll pay a little bit higher interest rate and still get a mortgage and keep the tax returns the way they are.
So there's still definitely loopholes, maybe not loopholes, but there's ways around.
They're not loopholes. They're legitimate products that are made for that type of person. And it's not just for small business people. It's for people who receive 1099s. It's for foreign nationals. It's, you know, people who maybe have a cash-heavy business and don't report that much, you know, as far as their income tax returns go. So, you know, there's various legitimate products for different people.
That's great. And then, why should you always touch base with your mortgage broker prior to making an offer on a phone? It's something I'm very curious about.
Right. So essentially what happens is, let's say you came to me in December and I went over your paperwork and we did a pre-approval, and I said, okay, you're approved for $450,000 to purchase a house. Now, I give a little more detail of what that means, simply because it's based on the current interest rate that we're talking about. And obviously in today's markets, interest rates are changing day over day. So when interest rates go up, your purchase power goes down. Okay?
Right.
Because what we're approving you for is the maximum amount you could spend per month based on your income and your debts. Okay? So if interest rates goes up, your payment's higher, so that means your purchase price has to come lower. So it's always important to check with your mortgage broker before you put an offer. This also takes into account, I maybe have budgeted you a certain amount of money for annual property tax on a property based on market averages. But then if you find something that's higher than that market average, then your purchase price goes down, and vice versa. If you find something lower, your purchase price can go up. Same thing with homeowners association. So every house is different. Just because it's 450 doesn't mean you're approved for. You could be approved for something that's 500. You know, if everything lines up the way it should on the paperwork.
So tell me a little bit about the big news that the Fed had last week with the interest rates kind of going up. How did that impact your industry and the overall real estate?
Well, with the Fed, taking the rate up, it affects it a little bit, but not, you know, but what people think. You know, the mortgage rates kind of, they go by that, but not really. They just kind of have a mind of its own. So we did have an increase, but it's been the slow increase, not the slow increase, but the trajectory that's been going on since the beginning of the year with the rates going up the way they are. So it was business as usual for us, touching base with our clients, making sure whoever is in contract locks their interest rate immediately so they can stay within their thresholds of buying power.
Tell me, I feel like one thing that I got a couple questions on is more clarification on what is a FHA loan. So for those who are perhaps first-time buyers and they haven't gone through this whole rigmarole, give a little Cliff Notes version of what an FHA loan looks for and what it's good for.
So an FHA loan is essentially it's a loan backed by the Federal Housing Administration, meaning they insure the loan to the bank. Okay, in layman's terms. So you do pay a mortgage insurance. You pay it up front. It's put into your loan amount, and it's put into your monthly payment. Okay, so that's the background of it. On the front of it, more of the question of who is it good for. It's not necessarily good for all first-time home buyers. Okay, it's good for maybe someone who doesn't have a strong enough income to buy the house they want to buy. So FHA, in some cases, allows them to go over the certain thresholds that a conventional loan wouldn't allow them to. Okay, and then on the flip side of that, it allows people who maybe don't have a strong credit score to be qualified for a low interest rate on these mortgages. So it's not necessarily for all first-time home buyers. I get a lot of questions. Oh, it's my first house. I want to do FHA. And then I see, okay, well, you have great income, you have great cash flow, and you have great credit. You don't need to be in an FHA product. You could just go straight to a conventional product. In the long term, it'll work out better for you.
Nice. Let me ask you something. Right now, is obviously we're living in a very precarious period. You know, like there's a lot of instability with war, inflation, all that stuff. I know you can't. Well, maybe you can actually. I was going to say I know you can't speak too much on a national scale, but if you can, feel free. But like, what are you feeling in Florida? Like, what's the energy? What's for people? I have a lot of people that are outside of Florida that, you know, they're hitting me up. They're like, hey man, how's it living in Florida? What's going on? You know, like, so I've been getting a lot of that in the past 2 years. From your perspective as a lifetime Floridian, South Floridian, you know, in and around the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area, just divulge as much information as you can to help our fellow Persians and anyone else listening and viewing about the state of the situation right now.
Well, investing in Florida is still, I think, a good idea, simply because of lack of inventory. And this problem is going to persist for a number of reasons. Florida only has a finite amount of buildable land. You know, we're, you know, in the middle of, not central Florida, but like in the middle of Florida, you have unbuildable land mostly with the Everglades and different swamps and different, you know, national parks. Especially in South Florida, you have a width of about 20 to 25 miles that you can build on, as far as from the Everglades all the way to the beach. So you have that issue, and then obviously you have an issue of new construction. It's not just slowing down, but it's becoming more and more expensive because of the cost of materials have gone up significantly based on, you know, inflation, just like everything else. So buying in Florida is still a strong bet. And you also have to think long term. If you plan on holding an asset for 5 to 10 years, okay, don't worry about what happens 6 months from now. Even though in 6 months from now, you're still going to, you know, make from that if you choose to sell it. But in 5, 10 years, 15 years, if you're holding that asset, you are in the green by a long shot. So it's still purchasing property whether it's for yourself or as an investment opportunity, is still a strong investment because you're holding an asset that's increasing in value based on the market. It's not just cash sitting in the bank, not increasing in value. You're holding an asset that increases with the market.
Let me ask you this, and again, I'm thinking about a lot of my friends who are in their 30s and their 40s, primarily in the DC area, and some are looking for investment, some are looking straight to move on down here. Let's say, and I'm just giving the average number just because this seems to be like the dollar amount that they're looking for, around $1 million. If you're looking from somewhere around the country and you want to come to Florida, let's zoom into South Florida, and you want to invest $1 million in something, what are there certain areas that are sticking out right now that you're like, man, if I were to advise my brother to come down here, I would at least have him look in these areas? Are there areas, I know you're not like in real estate agency kind of stuff, but what you've been hearing, knowing this like the back of your hand, what's your suggestion? Where do they start?
Well, the most popular things are anywhere where there's great schools. It's going to be a strong market. As someone who maybe wants to live in South Florida, okay, and that's more on the west side of town. And then you have different opportunities with with investors mostly into buying duplexes and multifamily homes. So those are great opportunities, and those that don't necessarily need to be in great schools, though, just in good areas that have strong rental values. So that's something a realtor would have to research for you. And I have an idea of it, but it's not my
area of expertise.
It's not my area of expertise to discuss in a professional manner that aspect of it. But those are what I've been seeing as a strong value for buyers.
I love it. All right. Well, I want to transition a little bit from what you do specifically in mortgage to more about what we, people like you and I that are Iranians that have been born and raised here, in your case, raised here, on how we can unite as many, especially English-speaking Persians, because I feel like you can agree that if you're super Persian and you've really just kind of like never assimilated to anything non-Persian, you're kind of living in your own world. It's an amazing world. But people like us, we feel like we do want to have this unity amongst other people in our own culture and background. What can we do in Southern Florida, especially in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area? And I'm saying this because hopefully you're going to share this with your network later on. And I want to make sure that we're speaking to them. What do you think we can do to bring them together, especially the one that's younger than 40, 50 years old, that they really want to connect with other people, they haven't had the opportunity? I would love your insight on what we can do, because I think people like you supporting Baghché, doing what I'm trying to do here and just backing me up here, we got to get more people. So what do we have to do in your opinion?
Well, in South Florida, we don't necessarily have a lot of Iranians, relatively speaking, to other markets throughout North America. You'll see obviously a strong market in California, in the Maryland, what do you guys call it, the DMV area? DMV. New York, Toronto, even, areas of Texas where they have strong Iranian communities. We don't have the population, not to say we don't have a strong community, we just don't have the population for that community.
Right.
So slowly but surely people are moving down here, and we do have, a fair amount of Iranians here. And I think there have been networking events in the past, and they've been okay. It's nice to meet people. Unfortunately, obviously the pandemic kind of derailed that and that momentum that was happening. But I think a different type of networking is more of a relaxed environment, like what you're offering at your Baghché event next month, might be beneficial because it's a night out for people, not just, let me get, my business casual outfit on, go to some office building and let's talk to random people. Well, that's all good too, but it's also nice to relax, go with your significant other to Miami Beach, have like an outdoor kind of event. There's food, there's drinks, there's people, and you get kind of make a night out of it. And then you could even extend the night for yourself either prior to the event or after the event, because it's Miami. There's a million things to do down here.
That's actually, sorry to cut you off, but that's actually, and I give props to my sister for making this recommendation. When I was trying to debate on what time on Saturday or even what day, decided on a Saturday because we're like, you know what? Let's make sure that it's a day that really is available for as many people as possible. Like some people might come from Fort Lauderdale, so maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday would be hard. So let's do it on a Saturday. And then from a time standpoint, I was originally thinking like a 7 to 11, but then she was like, do 6:30 to 9:30. So that people, if they want to, for example, have dinner at another, I mean, even though we're providing food and stuff, but they might have plans for evening afterwards, or they want to do something earlier. And so like we try to do like a nice little sweet spot, 6:30 to 9:30, so that people really do come to here. But in general, what is the South Florida Persian community missing that can bring us all together, not just even entrepreneurs? Because what I'm doing at Baghché is to have an alliance with people like yourself, because we need corporate sponsors. I mean, there's a reason why all these big festivals and concerts in the American world happen, is because they're backed by the Coca-Colas, the Pepsis, and whatever, you know? And so we as a Persian community need to start on a smaller scale, at least get the support of smaller Persian corporations and businesses, until we hopefully, you know, get the people of Uber to back us up, you know? So what else besides Baghché, what else can we do, man? What can we do to
I think the main thing is consistency.
Okay.
Consistency is going to be key, because you know, you have an event and then the next event 6 months later. Well, that kind of ruins the momentum of it, because a million things happen in 6 months. You know, we had one event and then 3 months later there was a whole pandemic. You know, so.
That's true. We got to strike while the iron is hot, you know?
Right. So I don't know how often is right, but it needs to be more frequent. You know, you have maybe one bigger event and one more casual event, like a drink mixer or something. I don't know. That's for you to plan out and use your expertise to figure that out.
Research here right now, you know, and I'm saying
So I think consistency is key in this situation. That's my takeaway from it.
Nice. All right. Very cool. Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to April 30th. I think it's gonna be a nice.
It's gonna be a great night.
Intimate crowd, but we're gonna have a good time regardless. I know that there's other people that are like-minded, like you and I, that want to first of all kick ass in whatever industry we're in business-wise, because we're just hardwired like that. I think that's our Persian roots. You know, we have that business mindset. But the greatest way to grow a business and just grow a community within that business is by building relationships, you know. And so that's what we're doing. We want to build relationships with the right people that have the same mission, the same interests. And, you know, I try to mix always work with fun, you know, and that's what I've been doing with Unite and Conquer. It's basically my entertainment background mixed in together with working with other fellow entrepreneurs. So I'm super excited for it. And again, I'm so grateful and appreciative that you've supported. I even mentioned it in my email blast today. I was like, this man, even he offered it to be a sponsor. And that's really something that I'm incredibly appreciative. So thank you for that, man.
We believe in the team of you.
Yeah, team of you. The team of you, Nati. I like it. I love it, man. What else is there about going back to now your business and mortgage? Couple things is what is there that you wanted to kind of, if there's anything else that you want to share about your business, or red flags to look out for, anything that you want to share to educate our fellow Persians, and after that, how can they contact you? Because I'm sure they might have some questions, and I'd love to connect it to you with anybody who has questions.
Well, first thing is the best way to contact me, if you don't know me personally, is you know, through social media. You know, my Instagram page is Mortgage by Arash. Follow me. All my information is there. I have my application website. My phone number's on there. You communicate with me via DM, text, WhatsApp, phone call, email, whatever means you want to communicate with me. All that information is there.
I can attest that Arash responds to all messages, all platforms very quickly, and that's very important for anyone who's trying to do business with somebody. So go ahead, continue.
Right, and then, you know, if you have specific questions, you know, a phone call is always best to make sure there's clarification. We're all on the same page. You know, some people will go on a website, for example, you know, and they'll say, okay, best mortgage rates, and then they'll go on this website and they're seeing crazy mortgage rates, you know, dirt cheap, and then what happens is they start applying, and then they get phone calls by 15 different people, and they ran their credit, and what happens is that it wasn't real. You know, it's like a bait and switch.
It's like the Tinder swindler.
Maybe not as egregious, but
on a smaller scale.
On a smaller scale. I'm not saying that, you know, it's good to talk to a human being.
Yeah. Because
this is a very personal transaction. You're not going to the store and buying a TV. Mm-hmm. You are buying an asset worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And let's be realistic. For a lot of people, that's a lifetime of savings. So you need to make sure that you talk to the right people, you talk to the right mortgage brokers, you talk to the right realtors, and have a good team for your purchase. And the thing that bothers me, not bothers me, but that I'm always concerned with is folks who start shopping around without talking to a lender about their qualifications.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you need to know what you're qualified for before looking at anything. And two, it's okay to use friends and family as your realtor, but make sure they are knowledgeable in what they're doing and not just someone who has a license and does nothing with it.
Yeah.
If they know something and they're learning and they're trying to progress their career, fine. However, it's
sounds like
you
the
need to have a
majority
good
of Persians, by the way.
right.
we got to call
No shade at anybody who has a mortgage, who has a real estate license. But make sure that whoever you're working with is knowledgeable about the market you're looking in. Not every real estate agent is good for your transaction.
Right.
And vice versa. You have real estate agents that are good for certain type of housing. I was just having this conversation with somebody. Some are good at condos, some are good in certain areas of town, and some are good with investment properties, and some are good at everything.
Yeah.
So make sure, based on what you're looking for, you get the right agent, so that way you make a well-rounded transaction.
Wonderful. It's all good help, man. I'm sure that this was very helpful for a lot of people. If they have any more questions, they should reach out to you. By the way, I know that you're kind of like licensed in just Florida, but I'm sure you can still help them out in some degrees to just kind of answer simple questions.
Yeah, I can definitely. I'm licensed in Florida. That's correct. I'm happy to take questions and assist people the best way I can. There are different rules and regulations, state by state, county by county.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only speak, very, high, 30,000 feet in the air, right?
Yeah, gotcha.
So I can't get into specifics too much when it's another state, only because I'm not licensed. And someone just, if I talked to you 2 years ago, you may have, but you still have an opportunity to do it. So I'll definitely help anybody out who asks a question.
Awesome, thank you. And Nestor, don't worry about the past. The past is the past. Focus on the future. Arash will be able to assist and guide you for the future home purchase, man.
Nestor, you already know what to do. So 2 years from now, it's go time.
That's right. No excuses at that point. Cool, man. Well, Arash, I genuinely appreciate you, and thank you for your time and dropping all this knowledge. A lot of nuggets were shared over here, and I wish you all the best. You know that you have me on your corner in your state, and I appreciate, again, you welcoming me into Florida, into Miami, introducing me to your friends, and I look forward to spending more good times with you, especially tomorrow for your birthday. So
thank you so much.
Happy birthday in advance. Much love to you, and looking forward to cheersing with a nice beer at a local brewery in the Fort Lauderdale area. All right, man. Take care of yourself.
All right, thanks for having me on.
All right, man. Love you. Take care.